Hello, my name is Anne Marie Knight, and I have been asked to share my breast cancer story with you. I will tell you in all honesty that it's been quite a journey to even get to this point. And I was excited when I was first asked to share this story, but then the voices come and the little one on your shoulder that says, you were raised in a family where what was said in the house stays in the house, and what's done in the house stays in the house, and you don't share, you don't expose yourself, you don't open yourself up in any kind of way like this. But I am the type of person that really believes in helping people along a journey, whatever that journey is, and it would take us being open and honest and taking a risk in sharing ourselves and our stories. And so here goes. So this is my breast cancer story. Deep breath. I was diagnosed at the tender age of 29, and the doctors at Yale, I can still kind of see their faces today. They were in disbelief. I think that is probably the best way to say it. I was 29 years old. I'm too young to have breast cancer. I came in to the doctors only because I was in pain, and that's the honest truth. I felt the lump. I felt it growing very quickly over a 2-week period. But if I had not been in pain, I probably would not have gone to the doctors at all, and this would be a very different story today. So I had everything going for me. I was happily married. I had 2 children under the age of 5. The doctors kept looking at me and saying, this is not cancer. This can't possibly be cancer. A mammogram just showed what the radiologist believed to be a number of calcium deposits. And once again, I was told that it was not cancer. Well, much to my surprise, and I'm sure to the surprise of the doctors, after having gone through what was originally supposed to be a very small biopsy, I remember waking up and being in a daze, and my surgeon leaning over to me with a sweet face, and she said, you have cancer, and I'm very sorry. All I really remember about that moment was that one tear that ran down the right side of my face. And I was now faced with a new reality, a new truth. This was not easy for me. And even though I am very much the queen of putting on a great smile and having a nice face, and I'm very British, it's kind of a chin up and keep going and pip pip cheerio, and things will be all right. And I just always power my way through different situations with an inner strength that just kind of drives me through it. And I attempted to do the same thing with this cancer. But cancer is no joke. Let me just say that. I had 6 months of chemotherapy and an additional 6 weeks of radiation. And my body went through the mill. At the time, I was probably about 105 pounds soaking wet. And my mom took me actually to see an iridologist. So I had complementary therapies that became a part of my plan. And he recommended a number of herbs for me that would build up my body and build up my inner strength. And I tell you, those mean seaweed shakes were horrible tasting, but they definitely did their job. And as I went through, weeks and months of nausea and not being able to eat, losing weight, losing strength, and almost losing my mind, it's humbling. And it really makes you stop and think, who are you? And who are you in the midst of this? And who will you be after this? And I know that I was fighting for life. I was fighting for life because I had 2 young children and a happy marriage and been successful on my job and, enjoyed success in life, so to speak. I thought I had it all together. But that cancer undid a number of things, made me face some fears. And one of the things that I remember the most is, I talked about being the kind of person that I'm prepared and I can power through things on my own strength. And I brought a wig before I ever lost a hair on my head. And I started wearing that wig because I was going to be ready. But I'm telling you, nothing can make you ready for the loss of your hair. And I will never forget the day I was in the hospital and I lifted my head up from the pillow and there were strands, bunches of hair still on the pillow. And I went into the hospital bathroom and I had a pair of scissors. I don't even know where I got them from. And I cut off what was left and I just sat on the floor and cried. You see, my hair has always been a source of, cultural pride as I was growing up. But it was also a source of, name calling and teasing by kids when we were young and in school. And they call us all kind of names. But mostly it would be something about my hair and how it looked. And, I always felt like I didn't fit in or I didn't quite look right. And they would tell you how ugly you are. And those things sit with you and they become a part of who you are. And I would spend hours in front of a mirror fixing my hair in the daytime so it was perfectly coiffed every single day, not a hair out of place. Losing my hair taught me that my hair does not define me. Losing my hair taught me that I was much more than a hairstyle or a hair color or a look. I not only suffered the loss of my hair, I suffered the loss of my right breast after a mastectomy. And you cannot describe really what that feels like as you're going through it. It left me open in a number of ways after that surgery. Not just physically. I was physically opened because they could not seal where they'd done the surgery because they had to take so much of my breast tissue that now what was a small biopsy had turned into a full mastectomy. And then the discovery that I also had cancer in my lymph nodes. It had progressed to the point where I believe they said I was 2 lymph nodes away from being stage 4. And so now there were lymph nodes being removed. This thing had progressed to other parts of the body and they were fighting, I was fighting. But the loss of your breast, the loss of your hair, again, it takes every piece of you to kind of stop and look at who you are and who you want to be in the future. And I'll tell you, it was my faith that was my anchor. And I could not tell this story today without giving God the honor and the glory, because without him, I'm nothing. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have this story to tell you today. I knew without a doubt that my time had not come. I was very secure in knowing that my purpose, my passion in life, what I had come in this world to give, it hadn't been fulfilled yet. That I hadn't done what I was called here to do. And that's what helped me. That's what held me. That's what kept me going. Because I knew it wasn't my time. And even though my body suffered a great deal, I still have life today. The chemo, the radiation, all of what it took from me, God still gave me life. And that realization every day, realizing that this is a gift, it's an amazing thing to be here still. And it's one thing to go through it in the safety and security of your home, your family. Like I said, I was married with children, and having all of that comfort around me and good friends and good people around me. And you can deal with the cancer on a certain level then, but there was an emotional side that I had not dealt with. And it did not, in fact, really come up until I went through a separation in my marriage and then eventually a divorce. It was in 2000 and ended in divorce in 2004. And I will tell you that every part of you, you begin to question when you go through such a disastrous, horrific event in your life. And things that I had not dealt with in terms of the cancer now came up in a way that I had to deal with them and I had to face them. And one of them was my own self-esteem. Again, it's one thing to be in the comfort of your home and deal with your husband or your spouse when, you have one breast. It's another thing entirely when you think about, is there life for me after this? And who in the world is going to want anything to do with me when I'm disfigured in this way? It was tough enough just finding a bra to fit and having to deal with the prosthesis and how you look in lingerie, and if feeling, checking to see if my breasts were the same size. I don't think you can really kind of understand it without having been there. You are constantly checking yourself and constantly realizing that you're not whole. And that is very, very hard to live with on a day-to-day basis. But again, I relied heavily on my friends and my family and my faith. And I've always gone to church. I've always known the Lord. And it was then during these rough times that I was the most comforted. But again, the most uplifted, because again, I knew that my time was not here. I had a purpose and a passion and a reason to be. And I just had to get in line with God's plan for my life and to find it. So I wanted to tell you this story about my hair because, as you can see, I've cut my hair off. And I don't have any trouble doing that nowadays because, as I said before, my hair doesn't define me. You'd have to know me to really know me. And, here I am now at age 52. I've got 2 beautiful children who they said I would never see graduate from high school. And I'm still here. They're 27 and 26. I have 4 grandchildren and my family is growing. And I was blessed to meet Charles Knight. And we married, fell in love, got married, and here we are 8 years later. And yes, there was a man who could love all of me, no matter how I looked, no matter what my body looked like, that he could love all of me. But what was most important for me to understand is that I had to love all of me. All of me. My faults, my hopes, my dreams, my failures, the good sides, the bad sides, the crazy sides. But I love me. I love who God made me. And I'm convinced that just sharing today, if it touches one person, that it was for a reason. So if I'm talking to you today and you're going through cancer treatments or cancer therapy or seeing a doctor, just know that I am praying